Welcome to those who have joined us thus far. We're going to get started fairly soon. We'll just wait for a few more to arrive. Happy Friday, everyone. Got some more people kindly joining in. Feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat on the right-hand side. Tell us where you're coming from, where are you beaming in from. Always good to see a bit of chat in the bar on the right-hand side. Just wait for a few more people to come through, and we'll get started in about 1 minute. So hang tight. Today we're going to talk about how we can turn your website into your best performing sales channel. So looking forward to that. All right, let's get started. You may have been expecting somebody a little bit different to be presenting today. My colleague, Brett James, who's our country lead for the UK market, unfortunately is off sick this week. So I'm the stand-in, I'm the replacement. So thanks for allowing me to present to you guys today. Today we're going to talk about how we can help you to turn your website into your best performing sales channel. So going to kick things off. So this is me. My name is Jan Barthelemy. I'm the VP of sales, or I head up the sales here at Lidu Marketing Technologies. Most of my marketing technology experience has been as a facilitator of conversation and business between marketers and technology providers. Used to sort of create a lot of great content and networking programs for invitation-only CMO events. But in the last 5 years, I've been working in tech startups. I joined Lidu about nearly a year and a half ago now, and absolutely loving contributing to our growth journey and working closely with our customers to enable more interactive, more personalized, and more conversational website experiences, which we'll talk a bit more about a little bit later. At Lidu, we're on a mission to help our customers to activate their passive website visitors, convert them into leads or opportunities, and then to understand what actually impacted those conversions, which is really particularly important. We've almost hit 100, well, we've almost hit 1,000 customers now. That's a big milestone. And what we're doing currently is driving an average increase of 75% in conversion rate for our customers across B2B sector websites, B2C sector websites, and also a lot of customers are a combination of B2B and B2C. So that's enough about me, enough about Lidu. Welcome to the webinar if you've just joined, and we're going to dive straight into it. This webinar will take about 25 minutes or so, and then we'll have some Q&A. Just as some housekeeping for you, you're more than welcome to jump into the audience chat on the right-hand side. You've also got an area on the top right of your screen to ask any questions, which we can address at the end of the presentation without any problem. So we'll dive in here, and in the next 25 minutes, we're going to talk about 3 key things. So how digital native buyers own all the cards now, how you can win in this new digital economy, and finally, how you can actually enable your website to convert more. All right, let's get going. So first off, buyer behavior has completely changed. But what I'm talking about is that the business of buying has changed, almost flipped on its head, supercharged by the pandemic. And really, if we don't evolve and change with those buyers, we're at best going to miss out on huge revenue growth opportunities. And at worst, really become quite irrelevant and potentially go out of business, which none of us want that to happen. So what do I mean when I say buyer behavior has changed? Well, this is an alarming stat. According to Gartner research, 83% of buying actions in the B2B space are now done online and independent from vendors. Quite a staggering stat. Digital native buyers own all the cards. They're the norm right now. And their time spent meeting with potential suppliers has completely collapsed. And assuming that clients are assessing your competitors' solutions as well as your own, you can estimate that it's really only 4 to 5% of their time is spent meeting with your representatives, whether you have a sales team or consultants, throughout their buying process, which is really not that much time. Buying journeys are also multi-touch and non-linear and far more complex than they were even a few years ago. So we must appreciate and actually empathize with the buyers on our website and understand that each of them will be at very different stages in their buying journey. In fact, 96% of visitors who come to your website for the first time are not ready to buy. At best, 10% of your website visitors are actually actively looking for a solution. So they come to your website with clear intent. So that means that 90% of them are actually passive. So we need to find ways to engage them and spark some interest. So my question to you is, why do we as website owners continue to provide static, one-way, inefficient experiences that assume the buyer is ready to make a decision there and then and have to deal with one of these dreadful contact forms? Now, this is obviously an extreme example for effect. I hope none of you in the audience have anything like this on your websites. But maybe they are. And if they are, I think that's certainly something that for you all to consider. Contact forms are not the most preferred way to engage with companies, and there's a huge amount of drop-off with that. But overall, what I'm getting at is right now, we are typically expecting the visitor to do all of the heavy lifting when they're on our website. For some reason, we're really happy and super conscious of creating really interesting multi-sensory experiences for offline buyers, but we leave online visitors on their own to figure things out for themselves. And so this is the consequence of that static user experience. We've blindly accepted this reality that for every 100 visitors that come to your website, on average, 98 or more of them will actually leave without converting. I wonder if any of you here are surprised by this stat. It certainly is a stat that is alarming to a lot of CMOs that I speak to on a day-to-day basis. So with this in mind, we need to work on how we can impact this and actually change this. And this is a big part of our philosophy and our mission here at Leadu, to really make our websites perform much better than what this stat actually shows. When somebody visits your website, you need to do whatever you can to find ways to collect their first-party data and to convert them into a leader opportunity. Because at the moment, if you're not, you might not get another chance. So I want you guys to imagine you are the owner of a really snazzy looking high street retail clothing store like this one. You've put a lot of time and effort and thinking about the layout, the lighting, the products on display, how they're displayed. You've even got a huge screen in the background showing videos to inspire your shoppers. And there's even some nice plants there to bring a bit of feng shui. There's trendy music in the background to get you in the mood to look good. They've even thought about the comfort and convenience of the fitting rooms. Overall, it's a really nice looking store. My question to you guys is, what's missing from this experience? Feel free to chuck some ideas in the audience chat. Really, the fundamental thing that's missing from this is it's a pretty soulless place. There's no people. People to engage you, to help you find what you need. If you're whether you're looking for something in particular or just somebody to interact with you, to show some interest in your shopping experience and understand why you visited their store and what your needs are. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what most of us experience on websites. Lots of nice design, plenty of information and content, but simply nobody and nothing to interact with, nobody to help me, nobody to ask questions to. Now, we can learn a lot from bricks and mortar retail, right? Because the very idea of going into a store like this and not being greeted almost immediately by somebody working in the store is pretty unlikely. So why would we do this online where buyers spend most of their time nowadays? Now, I'm not suggesting you will or you won't interact with that person, but at least they're there. They make you feel welcome. They're available if you need them throughout your experience. From the moment you enter that store to when you try the clothes on in those nice fitting rooms, to when you're at the checkout making that purchase. High street retailers know that without these people engaging with the foot traffic, there will be a lot of browsing, but probably not a huge amount of buying happening. So here's a situation. Say you have 100 people in your store and they're browsing. Actually, probably half of them have already bounced off and left your store because you know what? They haven't found what they needed quickly and they're distracted. And as we know, bounce rates are increasingly high. So 50% bounce rate is not an atypical number. Be interested to hear from you guys whether that is or not for your own websites. Now, whilst I'm no SEO expert either, I do know that bounce rates definitely impact those SEO rankings. So you're now down to 50 visitors in your store and they're browsing. And there you are, sat at the counter with your hands crossed, not interacting with those people. Until finally, two of them finally come up to the counter and ask a question, or they come to buy something and you switch on suddenly. Meanwhile, the rest of the people, the other 48 people that were still in your store, that hadn't bounced off, they're all leaving now. Without any interaction, you have no understanding of who they were, why they visited, what they were looking for. You haven't collected any of their contact data, like email address or phone number, anything like that. So you've worked so hard to drive them to your website, to your store, but they are leaving now and you don't know who they are, why they've come. Now, but at the very least, of course, you're left with the two of them to interact with and hopefully do business with. Now, if you were really the owner of that store and this was your reality, you would quickly go bankrupt. I'm sure you'd agree with that. Then, this is what happens. We're spending more of our time and resource and a heck of a lot of our budgets trying to bring disengaged, passive website visitors back to your website, right? So no interaction when they're in your store. And then the moment they leave, that's when you actually interact with them. It's quite counterintuitive. We need to do some things differently. And then, of course, that monthly meeting with your directors, they're questioning whether it's worth giving you more budget in yet another campaign that drives great traffic and great awareness, but doesn't measurably contribute to the bottom line nearly enough. And it makes them realize they're burning away thousands of pounds each month to drive more traffic to their website rather than focusing on activating and engaging with the website visitors that they worked so hard to attract. Now, these guys look pretty angry, don't they? Those are our friends over at Facebook and TikTok and LinkedIn and Google. Now, how do you think your directors feel about this? Not great, I'm sure. Now, I just want to show a quick example for just a loose example, just to sort of show you what we should be focusing on. Obviously, at Leadu, we're not against, obviously, you guys investing in generating more traffic. But I think something that we look to impact a lot with our customers is really ultimately that conversion rate. And if we focus on that conversion rate, there are opportunities to actually save quite a bit of money and make our websites perform substantially better than they are currently. So take this example here. You've got a website that's generating 10,000 visitors a month. Your current cost per visitor is about £1. Your conversion rate is about 1%, not atypical for a lot of websites. So that results in obviously 100 conversions per month, and then that end result is 40,000 in revenue at a cost of 10,000. Not bad, but not great either, right? Now you go to your directors and you go and get some more budget because you need to generate more revenue from your website, and you get some more money to drive more traffic. So you do that. You generate 50% more traffic the next month. Your cost per visitor obviously goes up. You don't touch your conversion rate, but your conversions go up naturally because you've got more volume to work with. And you generate a lot more revenue, but it comes at quite a big cost. Now, my challenge to you is to think about how we could do this differently. Think about 10,000 visitors. Let's say you maintain the number of visitors and you work hard on adjusting that conversion rate from 1% to 1.4%. You've increased your conversion rate by 40%. I think this is very realistic. As I said at the start of the presentation, we're increasing conversion rates typically between 70 and 80% for our customers. So what this means is that you're increasing your conversions, maybe not as much as in example number 2, but you're generating good amount of revenue at a much lower cost. And the end result is that your ROI is going to increase by quite substantially. So this is just an example to help you guys think a little bit differently, hopefully, about how you're allocating your budgets and how you're thinking about how your website could perform potentially quite a lot better. Here's an example. One of our clients, DTech International, did this very specifically. Not only did we solve their volume in terms of boosting the number of leads on their website, but really importantly, we actually prevented a lot of the smaller inquiries going to their sales team with better qualification. So a lot of customers, they don't maybe get a good volume of leads, but then not all of those leads are necessarily going to be the best ones for you to focus on. So we want to qualify those as well. So one of the things that we did with them is to ensure that the sales teams are spending their time activating the larger inquiries and leads rather than sifting through a large volume of small ones. Within 3 months, we reduced their live chats by around 1/3, pushed smaller leads through self-service channels, and enabled their sales team to focus on selling to larger opportunities. So not only has this made their website their best performing sales channel, we've also enabled huge resource efficiencies for their business through automating that process and those conversations on their website. Okay, let's dive into how you can win in the new digital economy. We've got some top tips here that we're going to run through. First off, tip number 1, hyper-personalize the website experience with conversations. Given this new reality of empowered buyers that we talked about earlier, with they've got higher expectations as well. We need to enable them to find what they need on our websites quickly and efficiently. And we need to help personalize their experience depending on the buying stage that they're at. And engaging your visitors in contextually relevant conversations, like we do every day in the offline world, will humanize their experience on your website. The technology is now available to hyper-personalize the conversation and their buying experience. So for example, you can tailor the conversation based on company demographics like revenue, industry, headcount, location. If you think about it, if somebody from one particular industry, say the retail sector, and then another person from a manufacturing sector, you may want to push them to different types of content on your site, communicate with them differently. Equally, a business that turns over 10 million versus a business that turns over 100 million. You want to be showing them different content and communicating with them into different ways. So why aren't we doing this now? Well, now is the time to give it a go. You can also tailor the conversation based on visitor behavior. So based on where they come from online. So interests, UTM tags, also what past sessions they've had. If they're coming to your site, maybe for the 4th time in a month, when they come to that website, try to personalize the experience based on them being there for the 4th time rather than the 1st time. They may be at a different stage in their buying journey at that point. And finally, you can integrate your CRM data and offer a personalized conversation depending on who actually owns that account or the company owner within your sales team. This is really powerful to be able to do this. This kind of customer centricity will really help to establish more trust with the website visitors on their terms as well. Here are some website personalization facts. I know we've been talking about personalization in the marketing space for probably about 15 years now, but the technology is now available to really hyper-personalize that experience. And companies are really investing a lot more heavily into this experience because consumers expect it. So 48% of consumers spend more money on the website when their experience is personalized. 74% of visitors get frustrated when they don't get a personalized experience. And very interestingly, 68% of companies have made delivering personalized experiences a really big business priority this year. So don't take it from me, take it from the independent research. This is something that would potentially be quite valuable when showing to your directors or whoever holds that budget to really be focused on investing in that personalization piece. Now we're back to the tips. Tip number 2, offer multiple engagement opportunities. Make a point of activating that audience, activate those passive website visitors. Now, a lot of the time, websites are treated as shopping windows where you can only watch, but you can't interact with anything. Now, what we would recommend is using things like tests and quizzes. People love these sort of things. Pricing calculators. Pricing calculators has become a really big thing now. People expect this when they come onto the website. Now, I'm sure that some of you may not like to reveal your prices up front, like from one sector to the next. But if you're giving them a chance to at least get a sense of what they're thinking about, what's the price range, that's really going to help you, because it's quite irritating for buyers when they come onto a service. They really like what they're seeing. They're not quite yet ready to engage with that business because they actually want to get a sense of how much is this going to cost me? Enable them with that. Other things like product guides, surveys, all of these things make themselves familiar with your company's offering in more interactive and fun ways. And this information is also hugely valuable to you as the website owner, as you'll be able to track these conversations and gather a huge amount of intelligence on what the website visitors are interested in, whilst also capturing their data in a really seamless way. So coming back to these complex buying stages, We at Leadu try to mirror what is going on within this process and help them to find solutions efficiently. And this is broadly how we do it. So first off, you want to know who is actually on their website. So identify who they are. Is it their first time visiting? Are they a returning visitor? Who do they represent? And what's ultimately the motivation? What brought them to your website? Stage 2 is to activate, right? To help them navigate and find what they're looking for. Signpost. A lot of our websites now have lots and lots of content, and we come onto the website, we're really overwhelmed. Find ways to enable them to find the solution to the problem that they're looking to solve. Engage with them, activate them with tests, and also answer their FAQs up front. Then third is to actually convert them. Once you've activated them into a conversation, now is the chance for you to actually start to collect their data and to qualify them and help them choose the right product, perhaps. And you want to have multiple sort of conversion types and CTAs on your site. And then finally, understand what that buyer's journey looked like. How long they've taken, how many touch points, what are the key efforts that contributed to that conversion? You know, did you want to nurture them using LinkedIn? Did you get more conversions via other platforms? You really want to understand in depth and have a forensic understanding of what's going on your site, what impacted those conversions. Now, you're more than you're welcome to sort of screenshot this page. Of course, you can also email me at the end of the session, jan@leadu.com, jan@leadu.com. Very happy to share these slides with any of you that would like to have them. Right, tip number 3, stop making your book a demo button bigger. Or whatever CTA you have, contact us, whatever it may be. It's not about making it bigger and flashier and blinking lights. In the conversion rate optimization space, one of the most misunderstood things and debated things in marketing. A lot of marketers, a lot of us think it's where we place that button, what color it is, how big it is, and how to optimize the purchase funnel. And all of these are important, right? But if you wish to make groundbreaking results, then you need to realize that most of your visitors don't convert because your website, it's mainly because your website doesn't actually activate them. So your visitors will typically have 2 things in mind when they come to your website. Can this business or this solution solve the problem that I have personally? And how can this business do it? So start with why, start with the problem, and less that, ask. If your website can provide that sort of and address those key things, then it doesn't really matter where your CTA button is located, how big it is, if it's flashing green, blue, red, whatever it may be. People will convert if you're giving them the experience that they want that's helping them solve that problem and addressing how you can solve that. Now, for all you sales reps out there, we all want to sell as much as possible, right? But in the empowered buyer era, we have to make every encounter with our buyers count and as meaningful as possible, right? You remember this Gartner graphic where 17% of buying time is spent meeting suppliers. That means that only 4 to 5% of the time is actually going to be spent meeting with the buyers. That's not a huge amount of time. We want to make every interaction we have with those buyers as contextually relevant and as valuable as possible for them. So one of the things to do in tip number 4 is to actually empower your sales reps with real-time insights from your website. Big problem today is that buyers spend less time with sales reps, as we know, and don't get enough value from that experience. So you can really stand out from your competition by enabling your sales team to deliver more data-empowered, contextually relevant, and meaningful conversations throughout the buying process. Now, what does that look like? So firstly, knowing who's on your website and when, and actually notifying your sales team in real time. You can track Also, what their prospects are doing, what pages they're viewing, what content they're consuming. You can figure out how far into the buying process they are. Are they spending a lot of time on your pricing page, for example? Give them a chance to actually engage directly with them, right? So if you have a live chat facility, allow them to do that when they feel that if they have a particular question that they want to ask. And ensure that things like calendars are integrated into the process so that you're avoiding a lot of email tennis trying to figure out when that buyer can meet you. Make it really frictionless and easy for them to convert. So help your sales reps' lives a little bit easier, make it a little bit easier, and have them stop sort of complaining as much as my colleague here, Temu. Right, so we've come to the end. Let's do a quick recap. Digital native buyers own all the cards. Buyer journeys are complex, really need to adjust and be empathetic to their experience of our website. We want to activate the visitors into conversations and other experiences like quizzes and calculators, surveys. Make it as easy and seamless for them to navigate the problem. Leverage your data to understand them and determine future go-to-market strategies. Understand what is impacting those conversions, and then ultimately choose the right platforms to be posting your content, to do your advertising, whatever it may be. Have that forensic understanding of what's going on in the background. And then also try to humanize that experience. Make it personalized and make it as low friction as humanly possible. And I'd like to finish on a quote, and because it's a Friday, I might swear. So play in the jungle, not in the zoo. Fucking go meet your audience and understand them. Hear the nuance of their life and language. Go to where they live, not where you wish they'd lived. Come to our stand. We're not at a stand. I'm on a webinar. Anyway, this is a slide from an event that I presented earlier this week. But anyway, these are my contact details. Connect with me on LinkedIn. That QR code links through straight to my LinkedIn profile. Send me an email if you'd like to see the presentation, and if you have any sort of additional questions as well. So I can hang out here for a few more minutes to answer any questions that you might have in the chat. But otherwise, thank you so much for spending the time with me today, and hope to connect with you offline, online, or elsewhere in the future. Cheers. Thanks very much.